and Haejin knew that the time of fighting with other successor candidates his age would be over. The real power of the divine cult is Chinsang's 9 horns and the great 9 demonic elders, and he had expected to get a chance to fight them someday, but he never thought that day would be the day. Haejin has finally reached a level where he can train against one of the great 9 demonic elders, so he wanted to see it. Without waiting for a second, Haejin launched an attack at the elder, startled to see his sword stopped by him. He certainly got the elder, so he can't believe it, and the elder threw him away with a single punch. He firmly struck the wall and found that the old man was an interesting opponent. The elder thought he said that there is no need for filial piety. On the other side, Hong Ryeon put her sword back, thanked him, as that is all she could say, but she wondered if she couldn't be both the Berserk Demon Squad leader and his disciple, since there is a promise that she has made with the 3rd young lord, which startled the Iron Sword elder. She explained that she is the 3rd young lord's subject, and she has received a lot from him. She usually doesn't care about repaying others, but she has taken too much from him, and many enjoyable things happen when she is with him. The elder supposed that she meant she had to be the Berserk Demon Squad leader to help him. Hong Ryeon affirmed, as that is how the contract stipulated, so the elder agreed and wanted her to accompany him. She wondered where they were going, and the elder clarified that they were going to the 3rd young lord's residence. Meanwhile, at Haejin's residence, they were still fighting, and Haejin found it amazing, as he had never known someone like him existed. Although he wasn't moving faster than Haejin, he was avoiding all his attacks. Furthermore, elder insights are at their peak when it comes to martial arts, and he is reading the flow of his blade technique. Since that is the case, Haejin decides to use the Demon Emperor's sovereign steps to strike. However, the elder already anticipated this, so he used a withered tree pole that broke the ground. Haejin is shocked, wondering what this technique is as he is being pulled toward him, and he has never experienced such a force before. Haejin wanted to escape this force, and shortly thereafter, an explosion occurs that helps him get away. He wondered if that was Void capturing an object and realized the elder used his demonic energy in the air to suck him in. He thought the elder would attack him when he got pulled in, but he was wrong because while the elder fights aggressively, he could withdraw when he knows he is at a disadvantage. Therefore, he isn't someone who likes to fight, and he is a tactical fighter who will win regardless, which is the attitude of a military soldier rather than a martial artist. He covered his sword with a demonic aura, then used the 9-fold Resilient Calamity blade technique, first form, to strike the elder. The elder created a barrier to block it, and he is surprised to face such a heavy blade wind. But he knew this couldn't be all there is, as there should be a next move. Therefore, he looked towards Haejin and realized it was a connecting move, and he was surprised to see that he had thrown his blade at him, which he had hardly managed to evade. The elder is surprised as the swordsman throws away his sword, but soon realizes that Haejin had made him think that he was going to use his ultimate attack, and then hit him with a different technique instead. As soon as he looked back, he saw Haejin close to his face, prepared to punch, and shortly, there was an explosion. After the dust fades away, the elder has successfully blocked his fist, and Haejin is a bit exhausted. The elder knew that it was the heavenly demon lightning bolt fist. If he had been late by just a moment, Haejin would have hit him. Shortly after, the Iron Sword elder arrived and remarked that they were full of energy, and indeed, there would have been another emergency situation in the cult if a penal law hall member had seen this. Haejin clarified that he had interrupted the fun, and the withered and tattered demonic elder agreed. Haejin admitted that he was as strong as he thought his wrist was going to break, but the elder clarified that his upper body would have gone flying before his wrist broke. Haejin realized that he was being dramatic, but the elder wondered what he meant. He suggested that he should disregard filial piety next time, but he didn't know how many times he had almost died in that short fight. Haejin clarified he actually had the intention to kill, but the elder didn't, and the elder didn't want to be branded as a traitor of the cult. While the Iron Sword demonic elder greeted the 3rd young lord, Haejin also welcomed him, but he wondered what brought him there with that troublemaker. The Iron Sword elder clarified that he came there because of this troublemaker, and he needed to talk to him. The elder suggested they should go to the restaurant there because they cannot drink there now. Haejin knew of a small place a short distance away that served good food, so he wanted to go there. While Anqua is annoyed to think about when she will clean up all of this, and Yo Sangren can't believe they have to clean it up. Later, Kang is shocked to see that Haejin brought the demonic elders and clarified that he should have told him ahead of time that he was going to get the demonic elders. Actually, he is even here in the first place. Later, Kang prepared the food, and the Iron Sword elder wanted to get straight to the point that he wanted to take Hong Ryeon in as his disciple, but she said that she had decided to serve Haejin. Haejin clarified that he thinks of her as one of his people, and the elder understands that, but he doesn't think that is all there is to it. Haejin wondered what he meant, and the elder asked if he would have taken her in as one of his people if she weren't the leader of the Berserk Demon Squad. Haejin clarified that he wouldn't, but it doesn't matter anymore, and the leader wonders what he means. Haejin already has the advantage in the succession fight, so whether or not he needs the help of the Berserk Demon Squad, there isn't a need for the elder to ask because this is something that squad leader Hong Ryeon should decide. Hong Ryeon clarified that it is the kind of person he is, and Haejin clarified that it would be better for him if she became an Iron Sword elder disciple. The elder clarified that his name is Yui Chan, and Haejin is shocked to learn that he shares the same last name as the squad leader, Yui. Elder Yui Chan affirmed, telling him that they are connected by fate in several ways. Haejin gets it, but he is a demonic elder, so he still has to call him that, but the elder told him to call him Old Sword Yui, which is enough for him. Haejin is surprised because he didn't want to be called a Grandmaster or a demonic elder, and had assumed that a demonic elder would have a very unique character. Elder Yui Chan felt that he should talk to Haejin about it, since she considered him her lord. Haejin appreciated it and requested that he take good care of her, as she wasn't a bad person, even if she was a troublemaker. The elder didn't want him to worry because, as long as she was his disciple, she would walk a straight path. Hong Ryon is angry to hear that, as she is still there while they are conversing in that manner. Shortly after, a man entered the restaurant and asked if the third young lord was present. After greeting him, he clarified that he had an urgent message from the Internal Enlightenment Facility's general manager, Ju. Hajin was surprised to hear about the general manager Ju, and the man affirmed and handed him his message. Hajin read the message and was shocked as he knew it wasn't all over yet. Meanwhile, the general manager, Ju, finally found the temple for Mara, which is located in such a remote place. Since it's abandoned, she's sure others shouldn't see that she's there, and she finally understands why suspicious items that went to the first and second disciples' residences were sent through their first. After entering the temple, she is shocked to see several swords piercing a statue, and she wonders who could have done this to the Mara statue and what happened at this place. This is the temple that low-ranked servants and martial artists of the cult frequented in the past. Hajin recalls that General Ju told him something suspicious, which was later found in the residences of Guan Yang and Guan Pyong. General Ju clarified that it is daggers that make Hajin wonder what is wrong with it. General Ju explained that it's a fact that the former First Order and the criminal Guan Pyong didn't use daggers, but considering their martial arts and personalities, it's highly likely that their subordinates don't either. Hajin clarified that many martial artists use daggers as their primary weapon, and most use them as a secondary weapon. Therefore, if they obtain them to practice as a precaution, it's not that suspicious. General Ju uttered that even if they use daggers to practice their main forms of martial arts, but receiving a box of 100 daggers every month is too much. Hajin is shocked because 100 daggers per month is certainly too many, and he asks where all those daggers went. General Ju clarified that it was the problem because they couldn't find where they were sued, even though they tried hard to learn about it. The withered and tattered demonic elder figured out that the demonic martial artists who were after the third lord had been collecting daggers every month through the former first and second young lords. He realized this tool was the transfer point for the daggers, so he wondered if they were the ones who damaged the statue as well. The elder didn't know they had such blasphemous people in the cult. The Iron Sword demonic elder doesn't care about the reason when a demonic martial artist dares to harbor the intention to harm a god disciple, so he wanted to arrest him immediately, and the other elder agreed. Hajin clarified that it was a personal issue, so he didn't want to put the two elders in a problematic situation. The Iron Sword elder clarified they aren't doing this for him, but for the dignity and the upkeep of the hierarchy in the cult. The withered and tattered demonic elder can't sit back and do nothing after learning about this, and the Iron Sword demonic elder agreed. Hajin thanked them for their consideration and supposed they were on his side, but was surprised when he ended up with two extra allies he had never expected to gain. Hajin asked General Manager Ju for another favor, if she noticed anything strange delivered to the residence of the 5th young lady, Ju Seo Yoon, the 6th young lord, Zhang Riyung, or the 7th young lady, Ki Yoman, then she should report it to him. General Ju apologized, but she couldn't do it, and Hajin already knew it was a lot to ask. However, he hoped she would recall why the facility master had entrusted this to her instead of handling things herself. She knew that even though the Internal Enlightenment Facility prioritizes neutrality when it comes to the disciples, they also work hard to receive the Demon Lord's love. Therefore, the reason the facility master had her take this on is to earn help when the third young lord comes into power. Hence, she agreed to get to work right away and get in touch with him again. Hajin thanked her, and he told the other three to go home now, as he would get in touch with his demonic elder later. He is sure to get moving in 2 days if things go according to his plan. Later at the Heavenly Demon Divine Cult, Gogu is shocked to hear that a mysterious group is after him. Hajin is going to look after himself and complete some things on his to-do list, but he guesses not. Gogu decides to ask him one thing and asks what his dream is. Hajin clarified that it is to eradicate the righteous Heavenly Alliance, which startled Gogu. Hajin wondered why he was so surprised upon hearing this and whether he was still attached to them, even now. The Penal Law Hall Master refused because if the war were to break out, he wanted to be on the front lines and inquired how he intended to deal with this group. Hajin isn't thinking much about it because he is going to find them and confront them. The Penal Law Hall Master inquired if that was all he was going to do, and Hajin wondered what more he expected from him. Gogu suggested going on a walk, and during the walk, he knew he was not in a position to tell him this, but it won't work out if he tries to solve problems in his usual way without thinking. Hajin wondered why, and Gogu explained that it is because he is the closest to becoming the successor. He said that he is going to eradicate the righteous Heavenly Alliance once he becomes the cult leader, which means he will be pulling all of the demonic martial artists of the cult into war. Therefore, he wondered if the third young lord intended to act without a plan, and wondered if he would later claim that he would use their deaths as a foundation to overthrow the righteous Heavenly Alliance, forcing them to obey him. He doesn't have anything more to say if Hajin wants just the downfall of the Heavenly Righteous Coalition and not becoming the Demon Lord. Since the word of the cult leader is law and divine decree, no matter the reason, but if he wants the cult to flourish, he believes deep contemplation is also necessary. Since most people lie for themselves, Gogu thinks that's right, but if he's the head of an organization, there should be thought behind his decisions. Hajin cannot argue with that because he hasn't even thought about this before, and he decides to keep that in mind because he didn't consider that before. Gogu thanked him for understanding and did not doubt that he would be a gracious leader, but he needed to fulfill his duties, so he was thankful for his suggestion. Gogu found this response unexpected because he had expected to argue. Hajin took his leave for the day and wanted to get in touch with him later. Gogu can predict Hajin's subsequent actions, but he is willing to acknowledge what needs to be recognized and realize that he is changing. On the contrary, a man arrived at the temple and discovered that someone had been there, so he instructed his companion to inform the group leader. Dark Heaven's god demon. Mok Wu is the demonic elder from 2 generations ago, also known as the demonic elder of Dark Heaven. However, he was dismissed from his role and expelled from the cult, and the reason was apparent. He had attempted to learn more powerful martial arts to become a member of the Senate, and in that process, he ended up engaging in the blood absorption arts, a forbidden school of martial arts. While 9 out of 10 individuals who learn the blood absorption arts end up with a destroyed upper and middle danchin, it can also have immense benefits. In other words, one could become an insane demonic martial artist and become a threat to the divine cult. So the divine cult imprisoned Mok Wu and sealed his martial arts abilities, then expelled him. However, the problem arose later when Mok Wu formed a family and had many children. Decades later, his descendants joined the divine cult. Xiao Ryong, in the past, learned that a few of the people with the last name Mok in the cult were descendants of Mok Wu. Therefore, as he wanted Mok Wu martial arts, he harassed and even tortured all of the descendants of Mok Wu he could find. He also took their families hostage and threatened them to try to steal their martial arts, and then he killed all of them. Hajin is shocked to learn that he did all this and killed an entire family to get some martial techniques, but he would kill himself as well. The general strategist heard that Hajin lost a lot of his memories from before his QI blockage, but he supposed he didn't recall it. Hajin affirmed that he didn't remember it, and it is evident because he wasn't the one who did this. Hajin remembers that Guan Pyong's execution is scheduled for 3 days, so he requests that the general strategist expedite it. The general strategist clarified that it isn't challenging to do, and Hajin explained that he had already spoken to the penal law hall master, so they would use the bone contraction mystical arts to disguise another prisoner on death row as Guan Pyong. The general strategist already knew of the plan, but Hajin explained that after the executions, a rumor would spread throughout the entire cult that the penal law hall master was the demon lord's first disciple, which shocked him. Hajin hoped he would deal with the rumors, and the general strategist is startled to hear that, as this means he is the one spreading the rumors. Later, Hajin was outside, and he knew it was apparent that they would resent him because the past Xiao Ryong was so crazed by the greed for power that he killed an entire family regardless of age or gender. He wasn't just a crazy person, but it was more like a hellish calamity. However, as long as Hajin is living in this body, he must bear the burden of the sins committed by this body in the past, and it would be a lie if he claimed it's not upsetting. Still, neither can he nor should he evade responsibility, so his head hurts after hearing this. Meanwhile, at the Zinnia Pavilion, the man realized that the ingredients that day were of a very high quality. The man had heard that the Zinnia Pavilion had endured some hardship due to recent events within the cult, so he selected the freshest ingredients he could and hoped this would ease his burden somewhat. The owner thanked him, but he didn't expect him to do this for them, and he asked for the man's name. The man clarified that he is Mok Bai, the leader of the grain cleaning group, and he smiled cunningly. Guan Pyong practiced the banned art of absorbing the internal energy of others despite being the demon lord's disciple, and caused internal conflict through treason. Therefore, for his sins, merely quartering him was insufficient, but considering what he has done for the cult until now, as well as his position as the demon lord disciple, he has been sentenced to be executed by decapitation instead. Abruptly, Guan Pyong's head was placed on the guillotine, and Gogu looked at him. Then, he was beheaded, which startled everyone. After that day of Guan Pyong's execution, a shocking rumor spread around the cult. While at the military office of the Heavenly Demon Divine Cult, a man wanted to report an emergency to the general strategist. He clarified that rumors were spreading very quickly, claiming that the penal law hall master was the demon lord's first disciple and the true first young lord. Yoseong realized that the third young lord was on the move, and he commanded the man to inform the organization within the cult that only the demon lord knew why the penal law hall master currently held his position and was no longer his disciple. But regardless of the past, he is no longer in a position where he is eligible to compete for succession, so the member of the divine cult should focus on their duties instead. The military office issued an announcement, but the rumors couldn't be easily calmed down. The source of the rumor was uncertain, yet it was too shocking to be ignored. Everyone wondered if the succession fight was going to start up again, throwing the divine cult into disarray once more. Meanwhile, the man found it shocking that the terrifying penal law hall master was the demon lord's disciple, and he thought the third young master would surely be the successor, so he wondered what would happen. They supposed it would be a great competition between the penal law hall master and the third young lord. The rumors sounded especially sweet to those scheming behind the scenes, so as expected, it didn't take long for those people to start acting. After some time at the Heavenly Demon Cult Penal Law Hall, Gogu was working when he heard some noise, so he asked who is there. He noticed it was a very advanced stealth technique, and shortly thereafter, a man came forward, as he wasn't expecting any less from him, but his senses were remarkable. The man clarified that Guan Yang was also able to sense him, but he was a bit slower. On the other hand, Guan Pyong didn't even know until he talked to him. However, Gogu is different because he is the first to see through his stealth technique. Gogu is shocked to see that the man is the fourth young lord, Hong Yui Moon, a physician, Shin Hyu, and a man who wasn't as skilled in martial arts, who had infiltrated the building, and he doesn't know what he might have done, but he has changed. Gogu, remember that he was sent to the grain cleaning group after 2 months of imprisonment, and Shin Hyu affirmed. Gogu inquired what he was trying to do by infiltrating the office of the penal law hall master. Shin Hyu don't wanted him to worry because he isn't stupid to start a fight with someone as skills him. But he heard an interesting rumor, so he wanted to check with him. Gogu wondered what he is talking about, and Shin Hyu asked if he is the former young lord of the divine cult and the demon lord first disciple, and inquired if he don't want power. Shin Hyu don't know why he became the penal law hall master, but he assumed his ambition has yet to die out, and so told him to be his partner if he still has ambition in him. Since he is the first disciple of the demon lord, so he thought it would be shame to give up power now. Gogu supposed he was the one behind Guan Pyong and Guan Yun, who had supported those two in their attempt to get at the third young lord. Therefore, he wondered where he had used those daggers, and if it was a result of his martial arts technique. Shin Hyu found it surprising that Gogu knew this much, and supposed Guan Pyong might have confessed everything before dying, but he wasn't the best disciple out of them all. Gogu wanted him to answer his question, but Shin Hyu clarified that he would soon learn what was important to his mind. Shin Hyu told him that he was different from other young lords, as his title of Master of Penal Law Hall scared the martial artists of the cult, and he was the Demon Lord's first disciple. So he wondered if Gogu thinks it makes sense for some troublemaker third young lord to become the successor, and he is sure that the Penal Law Master will be aware of how unpredictable he is. Since Gogu is the best demonic martial artist, he is the best candidate to become the cult leader. He thought Gogu was the better demonic martial artist and the best candidate to become the cult leader. Gogu realized that he was making it sound like he could get it if he wanted it. Shin Hyu affirmed that he could get rid of all the candidates if they helped him, and he is sure the Demon Lord meant it when he said that he was going to choose the successor, and he will have no choice but to pick him. Gogu is shocked to hear him say they and clarifies that he doesn't know anything because the Demon Lord isn't that kind of man. Shin Hyu thought it was worth trying, even if that wasn't the case, because it wasn't embarrassing to try and be the best. Gogu, don't think that's something a coward scheming behind the scenes should say. Shin Hyu inquired if he were confident he wouldn't regret it, and Gogu took out his sword, then clarified that he was the one who would regret it, as infiltrating the Penal Law Hall Master's office by a vice leader of the grain cleaning group was a clear felony. Since he said they were, Gogu wanted to know who else was with him. Shin Hyu got the wrong person as he thought he had been the most likely candidate out of the three, but he was wrong, and he ran away. After coming outside, he was worried because Gogu seemed to know a lot more than they expected him to, so he wanted to act carefully, as they might be in danger. Shortly, he was punched in the face and thrown away, and realized that it was powerful demonic energy because he couldn't even move, so he wondered who that was. Hajin stretched his arm and was pleased to see him after a long time. Shin Hyu is shocked to see Hajin here, wondering what he is doing. Gogu knew he would come to see him if rumors about him being the Demon Lord disciple were spread, and they needed a bait to bring them out of their little hiding spot. Shin Hyu is shocked to learn they spread those rumors on purpose, and Hajin told him to tell them everything at that moment. Later in the prison, they were torturing Shin Hyu and figured out that the grain cleaning group is made of people who hold resentment against the third young lord, and their goal is to use the other disciples to kill Hajin. Gogu wondered why he was part of them because he didn't have a reason to hate Hajin. Shin Hyu cursed Hajin on hearing that he didn't have a reason to resent him when he lost everything because of him. Hajin realized that he is not the type to admit his wrongs, so there is no point in discussing the reason for his hatred. Shin Hyu told him to stay quiet because he received unjust punishment for his crimes when he was following the orders when he fed his maid that slow-acting corrosive poison insect. Hajin grabbed his ear because he hadn't understood yet, and clarified that the problem with people like him is that they often think they aren't doing anything wrong if they are doing it because they were ordered to. The blood oozed out of his ear, and Hajin told him to answer his questions correctly. For what purpose they were collecting all these daggers. Shin Hyu cursed Hajin, but Hajin inquired about where he had hidden them. Shin Hyu laughed crazily as he wanted to kill him at all costs, and he was risking his life for this anyway, so he didn't care. He would do anything to see his downfall, and his eyes suddenly became red, and several spikes emerged from his body. Hajin is shocked to see this, wondering what is happening, and Gogu clarified that there are metal pieces in his body. Shin Hyu shouted to kill Hajin with him, and several sharp daggers emerged from his body. Hajin realized that there were dangers within his body, and they were the explosive shadow poison daggers. One of the daggers is launched toward him, but Hajin had already managed to evade it, and it's stuck in the wall, so he is left in a state of shock. Gogu doesn't understand how he can conceal poison daggers in his body. Hajin explained it's an extreme method of assassination through self-destruction, and he assumes that if the daggers in his body exploded, it could be bad for both of them. He is worried because people around him keep getting put in these dangerous situations, while the Penal Law Hall Master is speechless. Hajin realized he had a resentment so intense that he was willing to use such a method, so he wanted to meet Mokbai as soon as possible. Later at the Zinnia Pavilion, the owner is shocked to see the third young lord there. Hajin inquired how he had been and apologized for the last time. The Zinnia Pavilion Master offered his greeting to the third young lord along with his man. Hajin didn't want him to worry because he isn't there to fight again, and he didn't intend to the last time either, and the Pavilion Master already knew that. Hajin remembers it's the day when the grain cleaning group brings supplies to his kitchen. The Pavilion Master agreed that that was the case, but wondered how he knew about that. Hajin asked when grain cleaning group leader is getting there. The Pavilion Master clarified that he was already there, and had treated him to a meal, as he thought it would be hard to work this late, and he is currently eating on the second floor. Hajin is surprised to learn about this because Mokbai is waiting for him as he goes on to the second floor. Mokbai noticed his presence and remarked that it was overflowing with raging, dark, evil energy, which was a fit of demonic energy that had yet to mature, so he thought it must have been Shin Hyu. He put his chopsticks down and clarified that after realizing that Shin Hyu is dead, he knew Hajin had intervened, so he thought it was for the better, but he doesn't know if he will believe him. Still, he doesn't enjoy scheming from behind the scenes, as it gives him a headache, and it's not even efficient. However, he didn't have the power to win in a head-on battle, so he had no choice but to approach him in this manner, and he finally managed to meet the murderer Seo Ryong. Hajin inquired if he was Mokbai, the head of the grain cleaning group, and Mokbai realized that he was making it sound like this was their first meeting. Hajin is unsure if he has heard that he has lost all his memories from before his QI blockage. Mokbai drank the wine and found it a convenient excuse for having lost his memories. Hajin apologized and told him that he isn't the type to make such excuses. Mokbai clarified that he is, because even a villain born from all the evil of the world would be nothing compared to him, so he doesn't trust him and believes anything he says. Abruptly, he saw Gogu and supposed the Penal Law Hall Master was there with him. He believed that Hajin knew that they were using the first and second young lord to kill him, and he was the one who stopped by the temple where they collected the daggers as well. Hajin affirmed, and Mokbai supposed he was the one who spread the rumors about the Penal Law Hall Master being the first disciple of the Demon Lord, which was a trap laid by him. He wondered if divine cult facilities are already under his command, and is sure the heavenly demon cult is done for. Hajin understood that he was trying to kill him at all costs, but he doesn't remember the past, and he doesn't intend on turning a blind eye to it either, because he understands his rage, so he wanted Mokbai to quit what he is doing. Mokbai clarified why he should quit, but before that, he wondered if Hajin knew what he wanted. Hajin warned him that this is his first and last suggestion. Mokbai is enraged to hear the suggestion and clarifies that he is in no position to be suggesting that he should stop what he is doing, but he already knew that he is that kind of person. Hajin gives him this opportunity because he is being considerate of his rage and his wrongdoings, so he wants to turn himself in. Mokbai laughed cunningly, asking what he would do if he didn't want to, and he emanated a tremendous aura, which launched several daggers toward Hajin. Gogu rushed there, telling him to quit it because with his demonic energy, he would lose, but Hajin worriedly tried to stop him. After he stopped amidst his attack, Gogu inquired why he was telling him to stop. Hajin clarified that there are 5 martial masters on standby about 30 meters away from the Zinnia Pavilion. They are risking their lives for this, so they will self-destruct as soon as their plan goes wrong, and they are in the peak realm, unlike Shinhyu. Mokbai didn't expect anything less from a man who has reached the ultimate demon realm, and he didn't expect there would be anyone other than the Demon Lord who is capable of seeing through their stealth techniques. Gogu is sure they could avoid them easily since they are all 30 meters away. Hajin clarified they aren't the only ones there, but the Zinnia Pavilion Master and the workers there might get hurt. Mokbai is shocked to hear that because he has changed, which makes his eyes well up, as he never thought he would worry about others. Hajin told him to send those people away and not to involve them in this. Mokbai has also sent people to other successor candidates, so after his thoughts reach them, his martial siblings will be done for, too. Hajin is infuriated because they didn't do anything wrong, and 2 of them are just young kids. Mokbai gets infuriated on hearing about young kids and furiously reminded him of what he did to his young son. He also killed his wife's parents and his child. It's not just his family, but Seo Ryong massacred countless families who share the same last name as him just because of some martial techniques. Mokbai claimed that a 3-year-old child, someone who is a beggar in an alleyway, or even a murderer, can curse him, but Hajin can't do that. He believed in Mana and the Demon Lord, so he prayed to God and followed his teachings repeatedly. But no one responded to his prayer, and no one ever took care of his family, didn't heed his rage and resentment. Since life is full of lies, he doesn't want to empathize with some puppets who follow a god that doesn't even listen to prayers. Hajin had once experienced anger like this in a past life, during a mission where he was tasked with eradicating the traitor of the righteous Heavenly Alliance, as well as his family. Hajin is shocked to see the traitor and asks why he is there. The traitor heard that Hajin is quitting being an assassin and going to run far away. Hajin wondered why he was so close to the righteous Heavenly Alliance. The traitor clarified that he has a family, but he has no means to make a living outside of Zhongyuan. He realized that he couldn't run for his life, so he was mentally prepared, and he thought to himself that he would surrender his life if it were he who came to kill him. However, he wondered if Hajin had to kill his child as well, who knew nothing, and he started crying. Hajin became gloomy, so he apologized to Mokbai from the depths of his heart, and he meant it. Mokbai was shocked to hear that he is sorry and couldn't believe it because that demon can't be apologetic, as he is the one who denies his sins until the end, who insults and mocks those who are dead, so he has to be the one to rip that demon to shreds. Hajin agreed to do all that he could for his household, as well as help it recover its honor, and he didn't wish to avoid what his old self had done, as he wouldn't turn a blind eye to his past. Therefore, he didn't want Mokbai to hurt those who are innocent when he wants him alone. Mokbai told him to stop being a hypocrite, as it's too late to do anything now. Hajin recalls the desperation of believing in a god and praying for someone else. He is certain that if it weren't for his desire for revenge, he wouldn't be so evil and cruel as to kill those who aren't involved in this matter. Mokbai found it sickening to watch him talk as if he knew everything about him, and he was going to eradicate all that he liked and treasured, no matter what he said. Hajin is sure he already knows that if he kills those who aren't involved in this, then he would also be as bad as he is. Mokbai is dumbfounded upon hearing this, but he continues to believe that he is a victim, so he is getting the revenge he deserves. Therefore, he is different from Hajin and is better than him, and he imagined the corpses of the innocent behind him, so he wanted to stop listening to him. Mokbai asked if he was sorry, and Hajin was shocked because the flow of his kai, which his rage had maintained, suddenly changed. Mokbai lived until this moment filled with a desire to kill him. But the moment he said sorry, he decided that before he started wanting to forgive him even a little bit, he would put an end to this revenge once and for all. As the tears continued to flow from his eyes, he exuded tremendous golden energy, which concerned Hajin, and an explosion ensued. Hajin was concerned because his mind had utterly broken down, so he rushed toward Mokbai and told him to stop, as he shouldn't do it. He punched him, which threw him away, but Mokbai clarified it's too late because he is sure that everyone on standby felt the explosion of his death QI. The wheels of destruction have already begun turning, so there is nothing he can do to stop it now. Hajin worriedly told the Penal Law Hall Master that they must get out of there quickly, and he also told everyone else there to run away because the hidden lethal poison devices were going to explode. While everyone is running out to save their life, Hajin explained that it's strong enough to melt their flesh, so he doesn't want them to let themselves be exposed to it. Suddenly, he noticed Zinnia Pavilion's master was still inside, and was sure he could get away if it were just him. But with him, it would be difficult. While Mokbai praised everyone for their good work so far, and is sure their efforts will not be for naught. Meanwhile, all of Mokbai's comrades outside the pavilion began to exude a golden energy, and several daggers started protruding from their bodies. Meanwhile, at the 7th young lady Ki Yoman's residence, the withered and tattered demonic elder commanded everyone to back off as the assassin was about to explode. While the warriors at Juaseo Yun's residence were also trying to keep the assassin back, Hong Ryon commanded Team 1 to protect the 5th young lady. Meanwhile, at Zhang Ryong's residence, the Iron Sword Elder commanded everyone to get back, and he was protecting the young lord. While Mokbai is relieved that he can finally be with his family, shortly after, there is an explosion. After some time, the general strategist clarified that the image of the 3rd young lord has been tainted because of the recent happenings. The story of what happened with the Mok family has been the center of attention, and everyone is saying that Hajin should take responsibility for what happened. There are reports that some members of the Mok family are still alive, so they need to take action to prevent further trouble. The demon lord understood, and he had thought about how he had let his disciples run free, and the 3rd had proven his worth enough so far. Since it's hard to come across someone as talented as Hajin, and he has questioned himself many times about whether he can do the same things he has. He wasn't so greedy as to hope that they would be able to surpass him and no disciple as strong as him, but the 3rd is different. The general strategist accosted the demon lord, and he clarified that the 3rd has flaws, but if he helps him, he knows he can surpass him. The general strategist didn't know he thought of him so highly, and the demon lord is amused to watch him take care of the work he has given him, as well as his improvements, so what he has shown him has touched him. That is why he was unable to take action, despite knowing that he is qualified, and he thinks he needs to change his ways because letting him continue as he has been will only harm him at this point. He gave the commanding right over the heavenly demon 10 legions to the general strategist, and he should announce that if there is anyone who tries to start conflict over the 3rd past, they will be killed along with their family. Meanwhile, Hajin remembered the traitor he had assassinated and kept recalling Mokbai's words that he had massacred countless families along with his family. After a while, he opened his eyes and thought of it as a terrible nightmare. Gogu asked if his wounds were all right, as he had been sleeping for 3 days because of the explosion. Hajin assured him that he was fine and inquired about the Zinnia Pavilion. The Penal Law Hall Master clarified that everyone, as well as the Zinnia Pavilion Master, is all right, and all other disciples are fine, thanks to the help of the Demonic Elder and the Berserk Demon Squad leaders. However, most of the servants and the guards have lost their lives, and Hajin's image isn't good because there are evil rumors about him all over the place. Even the outer cult people know about Hajin's past and why all this happened. Hajin is certain that there are many more of them left, as more than 50 people were involved in this scheme. Therefore, he supposes that Mokbai's death was the trigger for it all. Gogu inquired if he still wants to become the cult leader because if he still insists, then he needs to harden his mind and resolve because the demonic martial artist wouldn't look at him as nicely as before. Hajin doesn't care about that because Mokbai didn't want to corner him with public image from the start, and there is a genuine reason for this. Gogu wondered what he meant, and Hajin clarified that it is proof of existence. Even though they weren't strong, they were demonic martial artists, so they didn't like the fact that they wouldn't be remembered. They didn't want their families, and they wanted their death to be forgotten, and they wanted everyone to know the reason why they wanted him dead, not for themselves but for their families. So there is only one thing they can do, which is to take revenge, because it's the same for him, so he knows it well. The Penal Law Hall Master told him that he was a terrible person, and Hajin also thought the same. Gogu inquired what he feels about himself now, and he believes he is a dangerous man, so he is uncomfortable around him. As the Penal Law Hall Master, Hajin is someone he finds hard to deal with, but he is certain that he wouldn't repeat the mistake of the past. Hajin is surprised to hear that because he didn't think he had heard such words from him, and that was reassuring to hear. The Penal Law Hall Master told him to drop that rotten facial expression of his and take his medicine. Hajin furiously reminded him that he should have some manners toward him, but Gogu told him to get used to it now. Suddenly, he noticed a carriage from the demon god's palace, and he was worried as he wasn't in the mood to see the demon lord now. After a while, the demon lord clarified that he had arrested everyone who was in trouble for him. Hajin realized that he had to clean up his mess, and the demon lord explained that it was for the cult, as he couldn't have such people running around freely after the recent treason incident. Hajin supposed he knew about it, and the demon lord affirmed, which startled him. The demon lord is sure he might be wondering why he didn't resolve it for him earlier. Hajin looked at him and was sure he was going to tell him that it was his responsibility to take care of. The demon lord agreed, but that was his mistake, which startled Hajin, and he clarified that he shouldn't have let it happen for the cult's sake. He has observed how Hajin resolved his problems with deep interest until now, and he thought he would do the same for this incident as well. However, he is a blade that is already sharp enough, and a blade that has been sharpened should return to its sheath, because sharpening it again would be a foolish behavior, which could be a waste of time or damage the blade. That is why he says he made a mistake, and Hajin clarifies that he didn't make a mistake at all, because this is something he should have taken care of, and something he shouldn't have done in the first place. The demon lord clarified that he already has, so if he is apologetic for those who fell victim to his actions, then that is enough. So it's not right to ruin his own life because of guilt, because he is not that kind of person, so he wondered why he is doing that thing. Hajin doesn't recall the past, but if it's something he has done, he should take responsibility for it. The demon lord wondered how he was planning to do it, and if he wished to console them, then he should die right there, which shocked Hajin. Demon Lord clarified that he would announce his brave death and put the demonic martial artist who talked badly to him to shame. Since Hajin wouldn't die for them, but he feels for them and sympathizes with them, he doesn't think of himself as the wrongdoer because he doesn't remember it, and he asks if he is wrong. Hajin didn't reply, so he told him to go away with useless sympathy and the chaos within his mind of falsehood, which would be better for them. Hajin wondered how he knew and if he was a god. The Demon Lord has experienced it countless times, and he recalls the past when he killed one of his comrades who was smiling and helping him by pushing the sword. He was feeling guilty at that moment, and he told Hajin that he didn't know what it was that they genuinely wanted, since he hasn't heard from them, as that is something that only holds power when they're alive. Therefore, the wrongdoer needs to apologize to the standards of the victim, but it is not right to live according to the victim's standard, as doing so would prove that he has no self. Hajin is concerned that many people will point fingers and say that he isn't doing the right thing. The Demon Lord is sure that he will suffer more if he doesn't have his set standard. Hajin knew that he didn't receive legal punishment for such terrible deeds because he is his disciple. The Demon Lord agreed because that was true, so Hajin asked if it didn't matter if he ruined the divine cult however he wished. The Demon Lord clarified that it was his choice to make, but he wouldn't stop him if it were before he became the leader, and Hajin supposed that he was the important one. The Demon Lord affirmed because everything depends on whether he can handle the consequences of the decisions he makes based on his standards. Since Hajin almost lost his life because of what he has done in the past, which is nothing uncommon in Miram. The person who takes vengeance and the person being avenged are all living to their standard in the end, and the Demon Lord asked if he could genuinely feel the pain for them. Hajin refused, so his master asked if he could throw away his life for them. He refused, so the Demon Lord asked what he could do for them, and Hajin didn't have any answer at that time, so he decided to think about it. The Demon Lord looked at him as he thought he would already know the answer to that, and uttered that he would show his age when it came to the strangest things. He told Hajin to set his standards if he didn't have any, because that was all he had to say to him. Hajin noticed that his master was talking a great deal that day. The Demon Lord hated seeing how foolish he was acting, and he couldn't kick him out, so he could only help him understand, so Hajin thanked him. The Demon Lord told him to follow him because he was going to test him one final time to see whether he was going to make him his successor or not. Hajin is surprised to hear about the tests, and his master clarified that this is a duel, but there will be no more duels if he doesn't pass this test. However, if he passes, he will then teach him as a cult leader would teach their successor. Since Hajin isn't doing well due to his rotten mentality, if he is unable to prove how sharp his blade has become, he will never become his successor. Meanwhile, at the Heavenly Demon Divine Cult, the General Strategist inquired about the matter and whether the Demon Lord and the Third Young Lord were fighting. Gogu affirmed, and the General Strategist found it amazing because he heard that the array set up around the Demon God Palace is supposed to absorb most of the shock. Since the Demon Lord has reached the realm that no one can dare to fathom, and the Third Young Lord is at the ultimate demon realm, it makes sense that their fight would cause this much ruckus. The Penal Law Hall Master realized he was very well informed on that, and the General Strategist apologized, as he wasn't trying to imply anything, and he knew. The General Strategist thought for a while, then clarified that he was done with his work for the day and would like to have a drink instead, and asked if he would join him. Later, the General Strategist is surprised because he thought the Penal Law Hall Master was going to say that he doesn't drink during work hours, so that he can drink on his own. After cracking a joke, Gogu didn't give any reaction, which made him feel awkward as he wanted him to smile. After a while, he broke the silence and asked who it was when Shin Hyu approached him with his offer. Gogu is still confused, so the General Strategist inquired if he is tempted to join them. After the Penal Law Hall, the Master thinks about it. He affirms that he is tempted, and the General Strategist is amazed because he admits it. Gogu believes it's best to answer truthfully if he has decided to answer a question. The General Strategist wondered if it is because he has spent a lot of time with the Third Young Lord that he is changing quite a bit, and he clarified that he doesn't know how to answer him truthfully. Gogu asked him as he was evaluating him and trying to judge whether he was a threat, so he asked what he thought. The General Strategist is embarrassed because he caught on, so he wanted to answer honestly, as he had done the same, and clarified that he genuinely wished to drink with him. However, it was because he wanted to peek at his inner thoughts, and he seems fine, but he is still an ambitious man. That ambition, though, is nothing more than a remnant of the past. The General Strategist remembered about Guan Pyong, so he asked about him, and Gogu explained that he is in the special chamber of the Penal Law Hall cellar. The General Strategist has heard about the special chamber, but wondered how high it is. Gogu explained there is a personal training chamber, a restaurant, and sleeping rooms, which is a perfect place for training in isolation, and it's where the former Hall Master used to train as well. The General Strategist wondered if he was training there, and Gogu guessed so because he was unlearning his martial arts technique to rid himself of the one that was eating away at him, and to start over from the beginning. The General Strategist is sure there isn't anyone left to stand in the path of the Third Young Lord, and the demonic martial artist's opinion is a bit better, but he is sure Hajin can take care of it. He is certain that his successor, Seo Ryan, will inherit the role, but he doesn't think it will take too long. He knew he had to face the day when the position of power would be inherited, but he didn't believe it had come so soon, and Gogu agreed. The General Strategist toasted the drink as he looked forward to working with him, and Gogu agreed. They looked outside, and the General Strategist was worried because the back garden was going to be destroyed at this rate. Gogu clarified that it's not the back garden, but it seems like they are genuinely fighting, with no intention to kill, so it's still a duel. It is at the Demonic Judgment Pavilion, and there is no other place that could handle the Demon Lord martial arts. Meanwhile, Hajin tried to attack his master again, but was pushed back. His master praised him for doing well, but he wanted to continue playing. Hajin realized that his master's external art is so strong, which is neither a matter of differing martial arts levels, but rather an internal energy or understanding of martial arts, a gap in brute strength. The Demon Lord remarked that he is stronger than he expected, and it's good that he was able to throw away his dignity for the attack, but that is all. This is the first time after his training in isolation, and it's an emotion he shouldn't feel while testing his discipline, but he is excited. Soon, the unidentifiable corpses and the destroyed buildings appeared there, and Hajin knew it was the scene of a great city being ravaged by a storm sweeping through it. This is the first time since he entered this body that he has seen Chinsang's demonic arts expansion, so that it might be his last as well. Soon, the ground began to break, and Hajin was shocked to see that the demonic judgment pavilion had transformed into hell. Hajin didn't want to let himself be taken over by the Chinsang world because it's over for him once he does so. He needed to consume every drop of internal energy he possessed to use the 9 deep demonic arts. He wanted to give it his all from the very start. Otherwise, he would have no chance of winning this fight. At the same time, the Demon Lord is sure that he has seen this technique before. Hajin is shocked as that is the demonic hand of the heavens, and he is worried as he can't dodge this one, so he rushes toward it. The Demon Lord noticed that he used the Demon Emperor's sovereign steps, but he was neither dodging nor blocking the attack. He was attacking him, which was quite bold. While Hajin vigorously attacked him, an explosion occurred, and Hajin was thrown away. He coughed up blood and is dumbfounded because Chinsang broke down his explosive Twin Peak Mountain blade with his palm energy. Therefore, he ended up receiving an internal wound despite being the one on the offense, so he has to admit that the Demon Lord is ridiculously strong. The Demon Lord realized that he had used an explosive mountain blast with both hands, which was an interesting way to utilize it. Hajin realized that even after he gave his everything, he still might not be able to give him a single scratch, but falling back is not an option either, so he needs to keep attacking. Hajin charges at his master, continuing to attack until he lands a hit and launches another. However, he is shocked because the Demon Lord isn't there, and suddenly he notices his presence behind him, so he looks back. Chinsang realized that his disciple was switching to chained movements when in close range, so he wondered if he believed he could deal destructive power equivalent to that of an ultimate attack by doing so. However, he knew this much movement should put tremendous strain on his joints, so his patience is incredible. The Demon Lord dodged all of his attacks, then punched Hajin, causing him to cough up blood. He is shocked to see that Hajin hasn't given up, so he launches another attack and rushes back. Hajin managed to inflict an injury on his master body, and the Demon Lord clarified that he has grown this much. On the other hand, Mudam wondered how intensely they were fighting, and the blood-handed, demonic elder found it amazing, as there was a reason why both the withered and tattered demonic elder and the iron sword demonic elder praised him. The blood-hand demonic elder asked him what he thinks, which makes Mudam wonder about what, and he clarified that the third young lord is the closest to becoming the successor because it's most likely that he will be chosen. The demonic elder felt uneasy, but Mudam was sure that everything would go as the Demon Lord intended. The demonic elder realized that he seemed relatively unaffected by having to serve a new master. Mudam is sure that nothing will change, that if the successor is someone the Demon Lord has recognized, then the two are equally important and noble to him. The demonic elder knew that he had given his everything to the cult for decades, so he should rest now. Mudam doesn't understand why he is saying that, and the elder clarifies that he has no ulterior motive. However, at their age, they are bound to realize that power is nothing but an illusion. He already knew that Mudam isn't doing this for power, so he doesn't want them to be mistaken because responsibility is the driving force behind people's lives. However, the demonic elder has also come to realize, over the years, that letting go is just as important. Mudam has a successor in line, but he doesn't think they are ready yet. On the other side, the Demon Lord found it interesting, as he always felt that Hajin had exceeded his expectations whenever he saw his improvements, and he had to change his point of view because of that. He clarified that it wasn't that Hajin had exceeded his expectations, but he had underestimated him. Therefore, he began emanating a terrifying aura and explained that it was his turn now. Hajin grabbed his sword, scratched it on the ground, and clarified that it was his turn, so his master told him to do his best. Hajin used the ultimate endless path, the blood cry of the Great Red Lotus, to strike his master. The Demon Lord created a barrier around his body, which stopped all those attacks. Hajin summoned several Q-I swords, which shocked his master as he was using Q-I sword control using the Seven Knights blade and blades made of true Q-I. Hajin used his skill, Soul Soaring Heavenward, to launch an attack on his master, and after that, he clarified that it was not over yet, as he wanted his master to take another attack. He also used True Heaven Lightning Bolt Destruction, which resulted in a massive explosion. However, his master stopped it and was surprised that he had used a Heavenly Demon Lightning Bolt Fist technique in a new way, despite not having mastered it, which was impressive. Hajin is annoyed because he can't love his fist, as his master is powerful, and he starts trembling as his master crushes his fist. He used an explosive mountain blast again to get out of his master's grasp and rushed back. Chinsang praised him, then he began lifting the bricks from the ground to surround him, clarifying that he was worthy of being called his disciple. After fighting for a while, Hajin coughed up blood and realized his master wasn't a human, because he was so strong. He was surprised to notice that the poison from Mok Bai's explosive shadow poison daggers was leaving his body. That's because while Chinsang's demonic energy is sweeping through his body and continuously causing internal wounds, it is also expelling the poison in his body, so he admitted that his master is a god. The Demon Lord got rid of the dark aura and clarified that he wanted Hajin to prove his martial prowess, but he was excited to see how much better he had gotten. In the Demon Lord's life that was full of futility and boredom, no one has surprised him as much as Hajin, and he has proven himself enough and caused him this much damage with a technique that he has yet to master fully. However, it's the arrogance in his superiority that amazes him more than his martial prowess does. Hajin is startled as he is lifted off the ground with his master's skill and realizes that the demonic Emperor Qi has taken over his entire body. The Demon Lord clarified that he is qualified to be the god of the upcoming era, so he will no longer test him or give him trials to overcome. He wanted to award Hajin, considering all that he had gone through, because he couldn't have him be weaker than the demonic elder, being young. The Demon Lord did something that caused pain for Hajin, and the demonic judgment pavilion is being destroyed. Thus, Hajin wonders if this is a sign of pain or joy. After some time, Hajin found himself at a strange place, and he realized this was the 9th depth of demonic arts, the 3rd gate to hell. Hajin read that the world-tearing Demon King's terror technique is written on the gate, so he realized that the reason he couldn't open this gate was due to a lack of anguish. He put his hand on the gate and remembered that the real anguish is like what he went through until this fight, and it's a journey of agony in which he can find his true self, which is the demonic path. Shortly, the gate started breaking, and Hajin pondered what he would be like as a demonic martial artist. Soon, he broke himself free from the chains binding him, and he shouted loudly. After some time, Hajin finally came down, and the Demon Lord clarified that it was because the scene of the demonic judgment pavilion showed him that his nature had changed. Chin Snag explained that he has rid himself of his grim reaper nature and planted the seeds of his new nature as a demon god. After a while, Hajin opened his eyes, and his master congratulated him on becoming a true demon. Meanwhile, at the 3rd young lord's palace, the man clarified that he was from the military office, but Donpal told him that his master wasn't currently there and wondered what had brought him there. The man clarified that he wanted to see how he was doing, and Donpal clarified that he was not as bad as he had been. He was recovering faster by the day. The man is pleased, so he took out a scroll, which made Donpal wonder what it was. The man gave Donpal the martial artist guard of the 3rd young lord, the divine decree, and Donpal knelt as he accepted it. After he took the scroll, he started reading it and was shocked. The man clarified that he would be in the center square 2 days later, so he requested that he be ready, and he realized it had come to this. At the same time, the Iron Sword Elder asked Hong Ryon if it had something to do with him because a demonic martial artist donning a military officer uniform stopped by. She is surprised to see the Elder and the demonic Elder, who ask if she would cause trouble again, but she refuses, and then she tells him that they will drop this off. The Iron Sword Elder grabbed the scroll and already knew this would happen, but he didn't expect it to be so soon. He realized that the Demon Lord liked Hajin, so the shockwaves he felt from the Demon God's palace were about this. The Iron Sword Elder is sure they would be busy from the following day onward, and told her to be prepared to stay up that night. Hong Ryon wondered why, because she was sure she had picked the right side to be on. Meanwhile, at the Internal Enlightenment Facility, General Manager Ju entered the room at the facility master's call. Yeonsim clarified that this little girl is one of them now, and the 3rd young lord specifically asked to take her in, which shocked General Manager Ju. The girl offered her greeting to the general manager and clarified that she was Mok Yu. The general manager then took her along, which pleased Yeonsim. Meanwhile, Hejin offered a drink to a grave, but he felt awkward and wondered if it was the right thing to do. He realized that the Demon Lord was right because he didn't feel guilty. It wasn't something he had done. He wanted to be honest that he was upset about having to take responsibility, even if only for a short moment, because he was a normal person. Furthermore, he doesn't know how he should take responsibility, even if he has to do so. Neither does he want to die, nor does he want to suffer in pain, because he has his own life to live. Hejin clarified that he has a goal, which is to bring down the righteous Heavenly Alliance and the Steel Blood Fortress. That's why he wanted to become the successor. It was because of the freedom and power over the forces of the divine cult he would get. He opened the bottle and clarified that he is going to become the Demon Lord and will become the cult leader to ensure that no one like him ever comes out of the divine cult again. But he doesn't know if it's possible, but he is going to try his best. And he clarified that it's the 6 heavenly spirit brews that the Demon Lord made himself. He poured the drink on Mok Bai's grave, unsure if it would comfort him, but he hoped it would help, even if only a little. He wanted to remember them all, and he knew that was something he wanted to hear from him. But he was going to do his best at least to make sure that something like that never happened again. After he is satisfied with how much he has changed the divine cult, he will leave it and come to find them. Hajin was unable to shake off the past, but he did manage to shake off the anguish. Although he doesn't have the future in his hands, he does have another goal, so he left. Meanwhile, everyone is in awe because the Demon Lord is coming to the central square, and after seeing his carriage, everyone decides to mind their manners since the sacred god is on his way. After hearing the drum sound, everyone gathered near the central square, waiting for the Demon Lord. When he arrived, they all wished for the long life of the heavenly Demon Lord. All the children of the demon greet the sacred god, and the Demon Lord told them to raise their heads because that day, the divine cult's new master, their new god, will be decided. He went to his throne, told everyone to raise their head, and was sure they had all received the news. Chin Sang had meant to wait until the Mara festival, but that now seems less meaningful. Nevertheless, he has already judged himself qualified enough to succeed him. The Demon Lord's rule has lasted longer than a generation, and he intends to rule for as long as he is capable. However, he is certain they yearn for the descent of a new god. Since there is a lot he will learn from his side, yet there is also no need for him to learn, because their new god is already complete. The Demon Lord is sure he will not be disappointed as he shows the potential to surpass him, which shocks everyone. He commanded the first guardian to bring in the master of the new generation. The guardian affirmed, so he called the successor of the divine cult to step forth. The door was opened, and Hajin came there in his gown, and all the eyes were looking at him with admiration. Hajin felt overwhelmed because many people were watching him, and in his past life, he had always lived in the shadows. However, he had come so far this time, and he looked out into the crowd and saw Anghwa's eyes tear up, and he remembered she was the first person he had seen after waking up in the divine cult. He was able to live thanks to Anghwa care and remember all the time he spent with her in the past. He looked at Hong Ryon as she looked just as he thought she would, and remembered they had gone through a lot of stuff together as well. He had reached this point thanks to her, and he looked at Dongpo, who was dependable like an old friend, so he was sure that if he had a brother, he would be like him, and he thanked them. After arriving near the Demon Lord, he offered his greeting, and the Demon Lord praised him, saying he was amazing and fit to be the upcoming god of the divine cult. Hajin is the true heir whom he had been searching for so long, and he had to ask him if he would devote his divine life for the sake of the cult. All of them were happily looking forward to it, and Hajin confidently affirmed. The entire central square was filled with the cheering of the people, and they kept calling for the third young lord. Anghwa's eyes filled with tears of joy, and Hong Ryon had the chills. Many of the civilians praised the third young lord for being handsome and continued to praise him. Dongpo congratulated his young master, and he wanted to walk alongside him on his path, no matter what. One of the civilians called Hajin by his name to tell him that he is fantastic, but another person is annoyed, wondering who dares to call the third young lord by name. Schulte, Goldie, and Kitty entered the central square, which scared all of them, and they were frightened to see a beast. They realized one of them was a tiger and the other was a golden fox. Hajin asked Goldie how he had been and thanked him for coming, so he gently patted his head. Goldie is affectionate with him, so Hajin apologized, but it's good that he had a good time with the Tiger King. Then he looked at his master. Chinsang realized that Jackal had grown bigger, and after looking at Goldie staring at him, he realized it was as imposing as ever, but he wondered if it was the Beast Palace Master Tiger. Hajin is surprised to see the Tiger King come along as well, and thanks him for the congratulations, and Kitty roared. The entire place was celebrating the new Demon God selection, and Hajin realized that he didn't need to hold it in anymore against the Righteous Heavenly Alliance and the Steel Blood Fortress because he could finally take down these two organizations. He wondered what that old man thought, and if he could sense his impending doom, but this was just the beginning of his revenge. Meanwhile, Righteous Heavenly Alliance Dam Seong is glad to see that the colored joy flower has bloomed again, and is sure that 5 of them will bloom when he plants 10, so he has a strange feeling. Abruptly, the man rushed there, calling the Alliance Master worriedly, as there was an urgent matter to report. He clarified that the leader of the Mount Hua sect just forced his way into the Alliance Leader Pavilion, and he was so forceful that they couldn't stop him. Dam Seong asked if that is the case, but clarified there is an order to things, and it seems like he has become someone who can't even control himself. He supposed that the renowned Mount Hua was heading towards its downfall, and he asked his man why he couldn't take care of something as simple as that. Dam Seong clarified that he will pay the consequences if something like that happens again. Meanwhile, at the Orthodox Miram Alliance, the Righteous Heavenly Leader Pavilion, the man wondered where the leader was, as he hadn't arrived yet. Mount Hua sect leader Hong Sanya inquired what they were all doing, so he wanted them to bring the leader there. The warrior requested that he calm down, and Hong Sanya was shocked, wondering how they dared to speak to the head of the Mount Hua sect in such a manner. Momentarily, Dam Seong entered the room and wondered why he was making the ruckus. Hong Sanya asked the alliance leader how he could look down on the Jiangnan sect in this manner. Dam Seong excused his warriors, then told Hong Sanjin to calm down and take a seat. Hong Sanya can't calm down in the situation, and Dam Seong tells him not to raise his voice because this is the pavilion of the alliance leader. Hong Sanya furiously slammed his hand on the table because the alliance leader had permitted the escort agency, which had been under their affiliation for generations, to sign a contract with the Jiangnan sect. He wondered what the meaning of this was. Dam Seong told him to stop shaming his master and have a seat, which startled him. He started pouring the tea and clarified that even his master didn't dare to raise his voice in the alliance leader pavilion, so if he acted disgracefully in front of him again, then he would take away his elder rights. Hong Sejin is scared after seeing his horrifying aura, and Dam Seong told him to have a seat. An escort agency is an organization that provides protection for individuals or valuable items during transportation to a destination in exchange for payment. A member of the Mount Hua sect founded the Xiaojiang Escort Agency. However, Mount Hua Xiaojiang Escort Agency signed a contract with the Jiangnan sect, a rival sect from the same region. Dam Seong clarified that he is already busy running the Righteous Heavenly Alliance, so he doesn't have time to pay attention to trivial matters like this. Hong Sanya wants to run the Righteous Heavenly Alliance better than he is currently doing, if he is running it. Dam Seong knew that the disciples of the Nine Sect ran escort agencies and merchant unions while returning a part of their profits to the Nine Sect. Hong Sanya is shocked that he already knew about it, yet he isn't doing anything about it. The alliance leader clarified that the escort agency master had informed him they had been experiencing a decline in customers lately. Hong Sanya is infuriated, claiming that it is all because the Jiangnan sect established the Bishan Escort Agency. Dam Seong inquired if the Jiangnan sect isn't allowed to develop escort agencies. He remembers Hong Sanya saying that the Xiaojiang Escort Agency was Mount Hua, so he would have been more flexible with the fees he took from them, depending on their financial state. Since their profits have dropped, but with all the money they were making, he can understand why Xiaojiang's escort agency acted that way. Hong Sanya is still enraged because the alliance leader should have informed him about the problem in advance and asked if the agency master had told him that he was going to side with the Jiangnan sect. The alliance leader clarified that he wished to terminate the contract with Mount Hua, and since the contract was between the two signatories, the relationship was strictly a business matter. The Xiaojiang Escort Agency is a branch of Mount Hua, but it is an independent organization, and it was the Mount Hua sect that demanded unreasonable fees from them. Therefore, they should have respected them if he wished to maintain good relationships, and there couldn't be a significant cause for demanding such high fees without a hint of respect. Hong Sanya wondered if the alliance leader is looking down on them right now because he treats them as a renowned sect like this. The sect leader affirmed, looking down on them, which infuriated Hong Sanya. He asked how he dared to do that, and Hong Sanya broke the table with his intimidating aura. The alliance leader wondered why he was asking, and he pondered how someone as rash as he had ended up in a leadership position. He was therefore disappointed in the former Mount Hua sect leader. Dam Sang asked the sect leader if he wanted him to relinquish his role to someone else, as he had been in that seat for 3 years. Hong Sanya's head is forcefully slammed to the table, so he asked the alliance leader what he was doing. The alliance leader asked if he knew what would happen if the other smaller sects and clans were to find out about the kinds of things they had been doing to them all this time.